What is up? It is your boy, the Bearded Wonder, and you are taking notes with, of course, the Bearded Wonder. And this week I'm coming to you live from the domicile of yours truly. I'm in La Casa, of course, practicing social distancing. Taking notes is brought to you by the Black and Business Podcast, of course. Could not do it without my brother from another mother, Dre from Brooklyn. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to have a soapbox channel, and to also um, further our our reach and our podcast. Our reach and our podcast. Our reach and our podcast. So yeah, that's that. Took me completely off. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about a few things. Talk about parenting, and how your children can be or tend to replicate being a mirror image of yourself. And secondly, we're going to talk about double standards and what that means. But I'm going to actually dive into the double standards thing first, because that I feel like is a little more um, pertinent, and will have a little further reach, and also give us a little more time to interact as well. So double standards, and what I mean by double standards is basically the question that I found on Facebook. A friend of mine posted on Facebook, and it's a really, really good question. I think it's a discussion we need to have within the community. So, and the question was, why is it that women can say or speak their mind in regards to men, but when men do it, it's a double standard. It's he hates women, or it's a women basher, a woman basher. Um, and the comments that are made about men from women should have the same reflection that a man comment about a woman should be on their like family, for example. So let me give a prime example. Like when women say all men are dogs, does that not apply to your father, your son, your uncle, or your favorite male cousin? Just like in the reverse. Of course, this is an R-rated podcast, so I'm going to speak my piece. Um, just like in the reverse, if dudes say, "Well, all women are bitches," is that the question is, does that reflect on your mom or your daughters or your favorite female cousin or your aunt? So like why do these double standards exist within our community? I mean, there is definitely a stigma involved with that. Like there's a lot of um, backlash. Don't call me bitch. Et cetera, et cetera. And it's one of those things like if the shoe fits, kind of weird kind of deal. Not saying that that's how I feel about it. I'm just saying like the double standard is weird, and it's not brought up or talked about a lot in the community. It's always, well, he's woman bashing, or he doesn't like women, or things to this effect. And it's not at all being disrespectful. It's just point of view, it's perspective. So double standard that exists within our community amongst men and women, um, it has to change. It has to be some sort of happy medium involved with that. So I'm gonna get the community to weigh in on that. See what we got going on here. Um, we liven up the chat some. I'll get the comments there ASAP. I don't know if my chat is down on that. If it is, then I will reboot this thing and we'll go live again. It's only 4 minutes into the recording, so it's no big. Again, question is double standard within the community. Why is it that women can? It appears that women have the ability to speak their mind about men, and their comments not directly reflect to male members of their families, brothers, sons, fathers, uncles, etc. Whereas when a man expresses his feelings about a woman or women, um, those sentiments are immediately reflected upon mothers, daughters, aunts, cousins, etc. sisters as well. So we're trying to figure out why that exists, what we can do to, I guess, change that. I mean, I believe that in this society we can agree to disagree. We all have that ability to do so. I hope so. Um, I just feel as though, from my perspective, I've always had an opportunity to um, express how I feel constructively. So I haven't come across this particular issue per se, but it is a very good question, and it's something that I have witnessed. Um, so it definitely happens. It definitely is a part of um, our community, and it's something that is very poisonous and cancerous and detrimental to growth within our community. So I feel as though we have to somewhat and somehow get rid of whatever double standards that may exist. Um, so there's that. I'm going to put a chapter for then some more libations I do with the bearded wonder. And today's taking notes is unofficially brought to you by Cigar City Brewery. Trying a margarita. Well, not trying it, but I'm drinking a margarita Dose. It's a tart beer. If you're not into tart tasting things, not your shit. Like IPAs or something that's a little tart. Is to it. Again, I'm officially about to go to get at your boy. I love to get some endorsements, get some IPAs that be selling. Community, yeah, help me out, man. Let's get an IPA brewery going, black owned and operated. I'm with it. I'll be a brew master. I like beer. I think my chat is broken, so I'm gonna try this again. I don't know what's going on with my chat. So we try to, yes, that would be very dope. That would be extremely dope if I can get get a brewery going. You can get some IPAs. That'd be freaking phenomenal. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do here. I can use my chat a little bit. Working correctly. Boom. In there like Sunday. So, community, again, question that I pose to you guys is why is it we have a double standard within our community where women are more freely to speak out amongst about men, and why is there a double standard that when men do it, it's considered um, disrespectful to female members of family or all females in general, whereas that doesn't exist in the opposite direction. So, yeah. That's my topic for today. Really, like, because I don't get it. Again, I was lucky. I've had an opportunity to definitely express, how I feel constructively um, amongst my female counterparts. I guess because I'm respectful enough that I can get my point across without being disrespectful. So I don't know. I mean, it exists. I've seen it. I've been a witness. It's not fun. It's not fair. I don't like it. But it is what it is. I don't know if you guys caught my one off earlier. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm gonna plug that to the weekly one off by your boy with Bearded One. I did sports, talk about sports coming back. That was pretty cool. Check us out on the Facebook page for that for the weekly one off. But yeah, this one right here is my own thing. Let's see. I think that that on both ends, women and men can fly off the handle, but there has to be a better way to handle things like that. Oh yeah, of course, I totally agree. It can go from one extreme to the other on either side. Um, but that's not really the issue. I think the underlying or overlying issue is that if I say, for example, women are bitches, then immediately that's attached to my mom, that's attached to my daughter, that's attached to my favorite cousin, that's attached to a sister or an aunt. Whereas a woman can say, all men are dogs, and it doesn't apply to their dad or to their son or to their brother or to their favorite uncle or to their cousin. So, I mean, yes, I totally agree with you, Nicole, that you could fly off the handle, that men and women could fly off the handle. I just think that the stigma behind it, like a woman can go and sit down and vent and be like, oh, this dude dog me, all men are dogs, da 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 da, and there's not a thought of their father, their brother, their uncle, or their son. Whereas a dude could go sit down and vent like, oh, all women are bitches or women are bitches, and if a woman hears that, immediately, oh, you kiss your mom with that mouth, or do you think your daughter's this way? Do you think your mom this way? Do you think your aunt this way? Like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's foul. I hate the way it smells. I hate the way it looks. It makes all parties involved look bad because to a degree, excuse me, to a degree, you are a man. He can't, if he feels like he's trapped or he feels like he can't express himself constructively, he no longer wants to interact at all at that point because pride is now in the way. Um, yeah, it's equally bad and it shouldn't happen at all. I agree. I totally agree with that point. Um, but I don't know why it is. Like, what? How do you? I guess I guess the deeper question is how do you stitch that lapse in communication back together? Um, like how do you make sure it's all like inclusive to that one particular situation, and you're not generalizing every man or every woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we bridge that gap? Like, I understand being upset. I understand somebody hurting you or wronging you, regardless of gender. But um, the attachment to the stigma of saying all men are dogs from a woman and not be attached to their own father, uncle, or son, brothers, whatever. Whereas the man would say women are bitches or whatever, and it immediately gets attached to mom, sister, aunt, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it shouldn't happen. I cannot stress that anymore with Nicole. Like, it's equally bad. It shouldn't happen. It really, really shouldn't. But what do we do to bridge that gap? How do we bring that far in of the spectrum back to one whole piece? Like, how do we bring this back together and make it so that communication on both sides, A, is heard, and B, it's constructive communication. I mean, you can yell at somebody back and forth and have arguments, and your point not ever at all be taken because the person that you're talking to or have been talking to is completely tuned out because they've been yelled at or they've been emasculated or their point hasn't been taken into focus. And in case you're just tuning in, this is taking notes with the bearded wonder brought to you by the Black and Business Podcast. I was talking about the double standards in our community, in the Black community, of um, it's a post I saw on Facebook by a good friend of mine. He had posted, why is it that women can speak freely on men, but men can't speak freely on women? For example, I'll use all men are dogs, um, and to not be applied to brothers, uncles, sons, et cetera. Whereas a man can say, women are bitches, and immediately it's attached to mom, sister, aunt, or grandmother, et cetera. Um, so I was kind of going in on that a little bit. Chat jumping a little bit, so that works. And Nicole is like, she doesn't know the true answer to that, but it goes back to the old saying: if you have nothing constructive to say, then don't say it at all. Men should speak up but it should be constructive for women as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a give and take. It's a push pull. It's a 50-50. However, whatever cliche you want to use in that particular instance, absolutely, absolutely, 135% agree with that. Um, I tend to bite my tongue a lot, um, so I don't have much to say if it's not constructive. I usually come back around and revisit it as long as it's still like fresh. Um, oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've all been guilty of using our media quote unquote loosely. That was also by Nicole. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Social media has definitely killed um, the lines of communication the way that we once knew it. Face to face interactions, phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. And not only that, the old saying is loose lips and chips. So, the more shit you talk, the more shit's gonna come back to you. So, I mean, it is what it is till it isn't anymore. And that goes by the infamous style key of the locks. So yeah. Um, hmm, well, well, to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Um, Also coming up in about 2 episodes. Um, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be doing a giveaway. So please, by all means, like, share, subscribe to the YouTube page. Let your friends know, let your family know. The Bearded Wonder's going to be giving some stuff away. It's going to be cool. It'll be something from one of our sponsors, and it'll be dope. It'll be custom. It'll be just for you. Um, so yeah, we're going to get that underway in about 2 episodes. Also, well, I do that. I do that because, so that way I can get all the accolades and praise while I'm still alive. Um, but yeah, so double standard. I'm going to kind of shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about parenthood, what it means to this guy, what it is to be a parent. Um, Parenthood is a very humbling act of selflessness. Number one. Uh, Number two, there's nothing like watching your child or children grow and mature and have quite a bit to say. I spent some time with my daughters over the weekend, and I learned that I used to be a chatty Cathy, even though I thought I was quiet, because my daughters did not stop talking about anything and everything under the sun. And I started to sit back and think about the times that teachers used to tell me, Douglas, be quiet. Hey, why are you making all that noise in the back? Son, sit down over there in the corner. I don't know how many times I've heard that in my childhood, but I heard it a lot. And then I found myself turning in to my mom over the weekend. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, go sit down. Hey, what are you looking at? Hey, I'm over here. Like it, it's funny, but not funny. It's like a cool, mean, great joke. Like it's hard to explain. Like being a parent has been a a gift for sure. Um, and those parents out there in the community, I'm pretty sure you share the same sentiments as I. Even though your children or child may drive you up a wall, uh, make you want to drive your car into a lake or some type of body of water, I'm sure they make you do it. But we also have to remember, if we can, because this is the key. One of the keys I'm learning in parenthood is you have to put yourself. You have to revert back to childhood. What what would my X-year-old self be thinking or saying at this time? And that's where the mirror image thing comes in, and watching your parents, watching your children grow, and you becoming your parent or parents, and watching them grow. Because there have been times where I have caught myself saying, "Oh, geez, that sounds just like my mom. Like, why am I even repeating this? Why do I have to keep saying this?" But I will say also with that, embrace it, because you get an opportunity to also recapture some of the things you may have missed in your childhood in terms of um, the innocent bliss of not paying bills. For example, I'm using that as a very big and broad example. because my daughters told me that money grows on trees, and I asked them to point me in the direction of said money tree because I'm going to go chop that thing down and put that bitch in my backyard, and call it a day. In the course community, I'm not going to be stingy. I would share the wealth if I was able to find a money tree. So my daughters are on the job of finding said money tree because they didn't find it when I asked for it immediately. So, to all the parents out there, put your kids on the mission to find the money tree. My daughter says it exists. I believe what they say sometimes. Maybe that's not one of them, but I'm going to. 'Cause, yeah. And then they told me it does grow on trees because technically money is made of paper and paper comes from trees. Okay, that's true. But like the nearest paper mill to me is like Georgia, something like that. So them trying to get paper for money would be a little difficult than getting it um, to the press and all that. Yeah. But anyway, nonetheless, my daughter say a money tree exists. I wanted to find a said money tree. Put your children on a mission to find said money tree. So yeah, parents, are y'all in the building? Let's talk about it. What have or what are your children up to now? Like during the pandemic, you have older children, and they're not in school and they need stuff to do. I'm taking notes actually. This is gonna be one time I actually put pen to paper because I need to figure out things to do with my children and I have them because everything's closed. It's hard to take them out places, do things. Even though we did go to the restaurant, it's a little weird because 3 tables apart between ourselves and the next people. It's a little weird talking to a server through a mask. That's kind of weird. In between plates coming, having a mask on is very strange. But whatever. We ate well. We're fine. Anyway, nonetheless. So what are your kids doing that may be something new that you didn't think they could find a way to annoy you? Um, or um, something in terms of growth. Um, as a child, taking on a new hobby such as drawing, calligraphy, health, walking, for example. We just use that. And just so you know, community, I'm drinking a brewski, of course. It's by Cigar City called the Margarita Gose. I'll show you the can. You'll have it as a prop. Shout out to Cigar City. Holla at your boy. Get a Black and Business podcast. We will happily endorse your product if you're listening. I'll speak for myself. I don't know if there's a book going to do it. I like IPAs, but I love IPAs. Maybe I'll do that next taking notes. We'll talk beer. We'll talk beer the next IPA. Let's see. Nicole was the first time parents, everything is new. I have a 1 year old and he loves to scream and shout. I just want him to talk already. Well, let me tell you something about this whole talking thing. Once they start talking, they don't shut the fuck up. Let me tell you that. I'm glad you're enjoying being a first time parent. Embrace it, enjoy it. Every moment is a very special moment. Um, Screaming and shouting thing will have you ready to pull out your hair. I would say don't pull out your hair unless you have a nice shaped head. You can pull off the ball. You can follow me. Go ahead, pluck it out. Um, you don't want them to talk. I'm just going to be honest. You don't want them to talk. It goes all downhill from there. Just being honest. Like as a parent of 11, almost 12 years, yeah, no, it's all I can do is shake my head on that. Yeah, and it's very true. I'm telling you, this is experienced vegan. They don't stop. I want. I need. I want to shoot myself in the eye. If you say I one more damn time. Um, so that's what happens when kids start talking, honestly. Just do a quick uh, settle for the screaming. I guess let's pick your poison at this point. I would probably rather take coherent and verbalization over screaming. Yeah, I probably would be ready to shoot my eyes out, and I don't want to do that. That's no bueno. No bueno. Anyway, just to recap, this is Taking Notes with the Bearded Wonder, brought to you by the Black and Business Podcast. Black and Business Podcast is sponsored and brought to you by Designer Custom Glasses, the Next Page LLC, and Modern Power Mobile Studios. You can get in touch with us on Facebook by simply typing in Black and Business in the search bar. You can find us on Instagram, IG, Black and underscore business on IG, or get in touch with us via email. It's called Black and Business podcast@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions, you want to be a guest, please by all means hit the inbox. We'll be more than happy to fill any questions, calls, comments, complaints, whatever. We're just trying to do what we can to make this better for you. And we're coming to you for um, your entertainment and your needs as well. So it's a give and take thing. So first of course, call you the community because we are bringing the unity in community, bringing everybody together. That is the goal of this podcast, bringing everyone together and uplifting each other in entrepreneurship and fellowship. That is the goal of said podcast. But the recap of taking notes this week was the double standards in our community. Why is it okay for women to express how they feel about men? For example, they say all men are dogs, and it does not apply to father's brothers, sons, sorry, uncles, or favorite cousins, for example. Whereas when a man expresses how he feels about a woman, for example, women are bitches, it immediately applies to their mom, grandmother, sister, favorite aunt, favorite cousin, etc., etc. And then I also went in to talk about parenthood and what it's meant to me. I've also asked the community what has their children or child done during the pandemic that may have been new. Um, so kind of went into that a little bit. Also, kind of put a bow on this thing because I'm gonna wrap it up in a little bit for you guys and let you guys go on about your evening because we're approaching 7:30 on the Eastern Seaboard. So I want you guys to get your dinner in. But this guy, Bearded Wonder, is approaching a milestone on Monday, August 3rd. Monday, August 3rd. I will be turning 40. Milestone. 4 decades of life, Lord willing. Um, so I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and kind of put that on how I may do a brief little live, if you will, on my birthday. And I will probably put my cash app somewhere in there so community is more than welcome to shoot me money. Money is always welcome around here. Um, and as you know, the Bearded Wonder loves IPAs. So you can do IPAs to the kids. You're more than welcome to find me on Facebook or just go on the Black and Business email address and ask for an address where you can send said delicious IPAs, and I will give you an address to send delicious IPAs my way. Also, I'm new to the cigar game too, so maybe next week, I don't know. It depends. Because if I do a live on my birthday, there is a 200% chance that I will be completely inebriated and won't be able to function fully. So I don't know. It may not be a taking notes next week. I will let you guys know via the Facebook page, and I will keep that pretty abreast, and you guys know, so you guys can look out, or whatever. I definitely want you guys to keep tuning in and paying attention. Um, we got some good stuff coming up with the podcast. So I can't go into details, but some major moves about to happen, and it's going to be nothing but love. It's going to help, with everything that our mission is within the podcast to uplift and give more exposure to our community in places of need. So yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to a lot of the growth and maturation that is becoming the Black and Business podcast. We'll be approaching a year relatively soon. So I mean, it being October be our 1 year anniversary doing the podcast. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to everything that's coming up. We got some interviews coming up soon in August. It's going to be a fun-filled August. We got some return guests coming up. Um, so yeah, stay tuned to the Black and Business Podcast. Stay tuned to YouTube and YouTube Live. I'll be coming to you guys next week. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'll keep you abreast. But keep those notifications going. Please like, subscribe, share. It goes a long way. It helps us, keep going. It keeps us going. It motivates us. It gives us another opportunity to come to you guys live and in little color. And in the words of the rapper Jewel Santana, don't watch me, watch TV. It's been real. It's been true. Peace.